This is Josh Hunter here on the planet Earth. It is Cinco de Mayo. And somebody was kind enough to drop two very strong mixed drinks into the gutter, which I drank with glee and gladness. So I need to let you know I'm slightly under the influence. I mean, goddamn. I mean, it's been a while since I've had it because I don't panhandle. I don't necessarily make a lot of money. Like, I make less than $1,000 a year. But since this quarantine thing, they won't even let me into 7-Eleven without wearing a mask, and I'm not gonna wear a fucking mask. I mean, they're still selling cigarettes. If you're gonna sell cigarettes and ask me to wear a mask, then you better fucking get your ideals into fucking, better examine yourself and understand reality. So, anyway, what I mean to say is I'm not gonna wear a mask if you're still selling cigarettes, saying you're concerned about my health and the health of the customers of your store. Yet, anyway. So, I need to let you know, just as a result, I'll let you know as a courtesy. Personally, I don't see the difference between when I've had some drinks and when I haven't. But I had they're very strong drinks, and they came in a jar too. Like, it was such a pleasant surprise because like I said, I like drinking. Like, I enjoy it, but I'm not like sitting around here like waiting for my next drink. I'm not sitting around here like, oh, if only. But like when I see a fucking like bottle or something, and I'm like, when I'm walking and I see a bottle in the distance, I'm like, man, I hope that's got something in it. And so I was walking and I found like two like full jars of fucking mixed drinks, like unopened, unsipped. It was great. Like, I really appreciate it, is what I'm saying. Like, some people, they drink because they're trying to escape something. They drink because they don't like their life. They drink because they don't want to feel anything, or there's something about them that they don't like. Like, when I drink, like, it only makes me like my life more. Like, when it's over, like, I'm not like dreading the come down. I'm just like, oh, dude, like, it was just what a great time drinking I just had. Like, it's all about appreciation. And that's because, like, I always, I make real efforts. Like, even while I'm drinking, I try to remain sober. I don't mean, like, sober in the sense that, like, oh, I don't, like guilty. I don't feel guilty for drinking. But I like to remain aware of my environment and my conscious thoughts, as I've been drinking. Anyway, so I have, so, I mean, some of you may or may not realize, like, I'm obviously a virgin. Like, like, in some ways, I'm very obviously someone who's never been, like, in a serious relationship. And so, because of this, like, there are certain habits that I've developed that I'd really like to just fucking be done with. But because I'm homeless, like, there's just very few opportunities for me to do this. And so I still have these kind of, juvenile tendencies. And there's always this part of me that's, because, like, when I was a kid, like, I was really, like, okay, you're all probably, when I say you're all, whatever, there are probably very specific people who are going to have a jab at me as a result of me having said this, but, when I was, a boy, like, I did not have confidence that any gal would ever like me, and I guess I'm still kind of the same way. So I tried to use, like, I tried to use, like, magical efforts to try and, like, for fuck's sake. All right, I tried to use, like, magical efforts to, like, gain, like, the affinity of ladies. And, I'm not talking like, I'm talking like when I was like 9, 10 years old. And so there used to be this thing called. All right, the first thing that I remember ever trying was I think I was probably 10, and I went to a Renaissance fair. They used to have a Renaissance fair, or maybe they still do. And it's like, medieval times, but like people are all dressed up in, their fucking, you know, old English and, jousts and knights and all that. And I went to some booth and you could buy like a magic spell, like a love spell. And I bought a love spell. And it was like, all right, well, you do this, you read this incantation, and someone will end up like liking you. And so I bought this love spell, and you had to face the east, and like first thing in the morning, and read this spell, and if you did it wrong or whatever, you'd have to face something called the Law of Return. And I don't know what that was or is, but I don't know. I guess anyway. So in addition to that, there was also this thing called a pendulum that I tried to use to divine, or to I think the word is pronounced scry or scree or whatever, to try and like determine like the truth of things. And so you'd hold this, you'd get something. Usually it would be like some type of a clear object on a string or a metal chain or something, and you'd hold it, and then you'd ask a question, and then you'd release. You'd hold it straight from its bottom, and then you'd ask a question, and then you'd let go, but gently, not being careful not to suggest anything in any particular direction. And I remember I'm trying not to say too much, because there's a lot of things that become very complicated as a result of my having been exposed to the public for 8 years. Like, I'm very convinced that there are many people who never should have met me, and not because of any detrimental aspect, but it's just there are things that people don't need to know. But the fact that you have ever even seen me, anyway. So I'm trying to be gentle here. I don't want to upset anyone's perception of the things that they think give them comfort. But so anyway, I was using this pendulum when I was like 10 years old, and like I said, I was like a lady. I'm like in very many respects, I'm like a lady, and I don't mean like a. Alright, that could be considered disrespectful, depending on how you look at it. We have redefined gender roles. So, alright, I won't say I was like a lady, but I'll let you decide what you think that I am or what I was. But I was like, when I was like 10 years old, I'm like, all right, well, who am I gonna marry? I'm fucking 10 years old. Like, what the fuck? Like, let's get this started. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's not waste any time. And so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I had a couple. I had a couple people in mind, like at 10 years old. Okay, so that was like. Alright. And so basically, all right, let me preface this by saying, like, sometimes I get extremely paranoid that, like, because, like I said, I don't live like in a linear time aspect. I don't live in a linear temporal aspect. Like, I sometimes, in order for me to protect myself, I have to live like 10 steps ahead. So I'm like, right now, like, I'm assuming, oh, it's, it is, May of 2020 AD. And sometimes, in order for me to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes, I have to say, okay, it's not just May of 2020 AD, and then I build some modified temporal bridges, and then it's, okay, it's May of 2020 AD, but it's also, August of 2024 AD, and, it's also, January of 2025 AD, and so on and so forth. And that helps because, if I had friendships will do the same thing, and in a clothed and comfortable way. But I haven't necessarily been able to maintain any legitimate friendships so far. So, so when I was 10 years old, I was attempting to say, all right, well, let me figure out who the fuck. I was really eager to become like a stabilized person because I knew that nobody liked me. Like I had a very good sense that people aren't like, they're not like, oh fuck, I fucking love this guy and I just fucking want to hang out with him and like and I just want to fucking like enjoy his presence. And so I wanted to get started. Like, well, I better fucking find out who wants to marry, like who I'm gonna be married to. Like some fucking, like some little girl. Okay, sorry. I did not do like the traditional little boy things. I had toys, I played video games, but like I was still like about like, all right, well, fucking let's fucking find out who are we gonna get married to? Like that was important to me. That was a practical thing to be considered at that time. And so I used this thing, a pendulum, and I asked the question like, who am I gonna get married to? And so at that time, anyway, okay, I have a certain paranoia that somehow I'm already married, and that like my wife is like aware that like I'm married. That I have I believe. What a joke. Okay, so I sometimes get like the type of suspicion that I'm already married, and that like my wife is in the future, like looking back on this moment, like on these moments right now, trying to determine like if I was telling the truth, and every word that I say has to be like correct and in alignment with not only my present values but my values like 5-10 years from now. So like when I say things, I feel like I'm already under judgment. Like, oh, like my wife is like already like, oh, why are you talking to her? Why are you looking at her? Why are you fucking, oh, why'd you leave that comment? It's pathetic. I know. I mean, it's not pathetic to me because like fucking, I like being myself. So I'm like, it's, but so. I need to say some things to confirm some things. I'm not saying there's literally like there are only two people in the world who would actually know that. Why am I doing this again? God damn it. I had. Oh, it's Cinco de Mayo. Okay, I'm not drunk, but I've had some drinks. I want to comfort my wife in the future. I guess, as you know by now, this is my 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 celebrity wife. when I was 10 years old, I had no concept of celebrity, but now that I'm like older, I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely a celebrity wife. God damn it. Anyway, what am I saying? I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Tastes pretty good though. I don't want to get in trouble with my wife from the future. Is what I'm trying to do right now. Cause I'm that kind of guy. Like I'm easily whipped. Like I'm not like some, like I don't have like a lot of pride. Like if like as a married person, like as a married man, I'm not like, oh, let me fucking prove. I'm like, let me be like fucking, oh, you can't tell me what to do. Like I'm not that type of guy at all. I'm like, tell me everything to do. Tell me. Okay. Only have 10 seconds left. Fuck. I can't believe I just spoke for 15 minutes. What the fuck did I just say? Anyway, basically, I'm just trying to show that I'm like not like a disreputable fellow. Thank you for watching.